The acid rain on Nexus 7 had a particular way of finding every crack in your environment suit. Reyna Thorne knew this better than most, having spent the last 3 years scouring the mining colony's vast scrapyards for salvageable components. Today's weather was especially vicious, eating through the protective coating on her visor faster than usual. "Terminal, how much longer on that atmospheric reading?" she called out to her companion drone, its scratched casing somehow still gleaming despite the corrosive downpour. "Atmospheric toxicity at 47% above acceptable parameters," Terminal chirped back, its synthetic voice carrying a hint of concern that Reyna swore she hadn't programmed into it. "Recommended surface exposure time, 22 minutes remaining." Reyna grunted, pushing deeper into the twisted maze of abandoned mining equipment and derelict spacecraft. The colony's life support systems were failing, and without the right parts, the entire settlement would have to be evacuated. 3,000 people would lose everything they'd built here on the edge of human space. "Expanding scan radius," Terminal announced, projecting a holographic map of their surroundings. "Warning, unusual energy signature detected in Sector 7. "Define unusual," Reyna said, already changing course toward the reading. In her experience, unusual meant either valuable or dangerous. Often both. "Energy pattern does not match any known human technology in my database," Terminal replied, bobbing alongside her. "Signature suggests advanced propulsion systems, possibly FTL capable." Reyna's heart rate quickened. Faster-than-light technology was strictly regulated by the Earth Defense Force. Finding a piece out here could mean either a massive payday or massive trouble. She needed the credits, but more importantly, she needed parts that could save the colony. The scrapyard opened into an impact crater, its edges worn smooth by years of acid rain. At its center, partially buried in metallic debris, sat an object that made Reyna's breath catch in her throat. It was clearly an escape pod, but like nothing she'd ever seen. Its surface seemed to ripple with an iridescent sheen, the metal itself almost organic in appearance. "Terminal, full spectrum analysis," she ordered, approaching cautiously. "Any signs of life?" "Structure composed of unknown alloy," Terminal reported. "Detecting minimal power output and, yes, one life sign. Weak but stable." Reyna circled the pod, her experienced eye noting the impact damage along one side. This was a recent crash, perhaps only a few days old. The pod's design was sleek, efficient, and completely alien. "Got an access panel or emergency release anywhere on this thing?" she muttered, more to herself than Terminal. As if in response, a seam appeared in the pod's surface, spreading like liquid mercury until an opening formed. Inside, bathed in a soft blue light, lay a humanoid figure in what appeared to be battle armor. The design was as alien as the pod, all flowing lines and biomechanical integration. The occupant was unconscious but breathing, their skin a pale silver that seemed to shimmer with subtle patterns. "Terminal, medical scan," Reyna ordered, her mind racing. First contact protocols were clear, she should report this immediately to colony authority. But those same authorities would lock this discovery away, and with it any chance of finding technology that could save Nexus 7. "Subject shows signs of internal injuries and severe neural trauma," Terminal reported. "Detected cybernetic augmentations throughout nervous system, far more advanced than current human prosthetics." Reyna made her decision. "Help me get them back to the workshop." "And Terminal?" "Initiate privacy protocols. This stays between us for now." "Acknowledged," Terminal replied, extending its cargo manipulators. "Though I feel compelled to point out that this course of action violates at least 7 colonial regulations." "Note your objection," Reyna said, carefully helping Terminal lift the alien figure. "But this might be our only chance to save the colony. Sometimes you have to break protocol to do what's right." As they made their way back through the scrapyard, the acid rain intensified, drumming against metal and eating into stone. Reyna couldn't shake the feeling that she'd just stepped into something much bigger than Nexus 7 survival. The real question was whether she'd live long enough to find out exactly what that something was. Getting an unconscious alien through Nexus 7's maintenance tunnels without being noticed would have been impossible without Terminal's help. The drone sensor suite kept them one step ahead of the security patrols, and its holographic camouflage field covered their movements through the more populated sections. Reyna's workshop occupied a forgotten maintenance bay in the colony's lower levels. She'd spent years collecting equipment and building it into a space where she could work on the most complex repairs without oversight. Today, that privacy might save more than just her license to salvage. "Lock it down, Terminal," she ordered as they entered. Full spectrum jamming, no signals in or out. The alien lay on her diagnostic table, their silver skin now marked with faint blue lines that pulsed in slow rhythm. The battle armor had partially retracted, revealing more of the biomechanical integration beneath. It wasn't just equipment, the technology was part of them. "Neural activity increasing," Terminal reported. "Subject approaching consciousness. Caution advised." Reyna checked the makeshift restraints she'd applied. "Keep medical scanners active. I want to know the moment anything changes." The alien's eyes opened suddenly, revealing irises that shifted color like oil on water. They focused immediately on Reyna, and a voice emerged, not spoken, but transmitted directly into her neural implant. "You have taken considerable risk in helping me." Reyna managed not to flinch at the unexpected contact. "You're welcome. Want to tell me who you are and why I found you crashed in our scrapyard?" "I am Caden, Scout Commander of the Etherian Empire." The alien's mental voice carried undertones of pain and urgency. "And I am here because your people are in grave danger." "Aren't we always?" Reyna replied dryly. "Look, I've got 3,000 colonists about to lose life support unless I find replacement parts. How about we start with something more immediate?" Caden's expression shifted in a way Reyna couldn't quite read. "Your technology, the neural interfaces, the prosthetics that merge consciousness with machine. How long has your species had this capability?" "Couple 100 years, give or take. Started with basic medical applications, grew from there." "Why?" "Because that development has drawn attention you are not prepared for." Caden tried to sit up, wincing. "My people have been watching humanity's progress with great interest. You have achieved something that has eluded us for millennia." Terminal bobbed closer, its sensors whirring. Subject's neural patterns show no deception markers. However, stress indicators are elevated. "Your companion," Caden observed. "It possesses true consciousness, does it not? Not merely programmed responses." "Terminals, complicated," Reyna answered carefully. "I've worked with them long enough that they've developed their own personality. It happens sometimes with advanced AI, especially ones that interface regularly with human neural networks." "Exactly." Caden's mental voice grew stronger. "You have created true artificial consciousness, emerging naturally from the interface between organic and mechanical minds. My people have tried to force this development for generations, through genetic engineering and technological advancement. We failed. And now, there are those among us who would take what you have achieved by force." Reyna felt a chill that had nothing to do with the workshop's temperature. "What do you mean, take it by force?" "There is a faction within the Empire that believes human neural components can be harvested and integrated into our weapons systems. They plan to raid your colonies, taking what they need and leaving nothing behind." Caden's colors darkened with what might have been shame. "I was part of the advanced scout team. But when I saw the truth of what was planned, I could not be complicit. My attempt to warn your people ended poorly. Hence the crash landing." Reyna ran a hand through her short-cropped hair, mind racing. "Why should I believe you?" "Because I can help you save your colony." Caden gestured to their armor. The technology one possess can be adapted to repair your life support systems. In return, I need your help to reach someone who can stop this invasion before it begins. Terminal's processors hummed as they analyzed the alien's words. Probability of truthful intent, 89.7%. However, significant risk factors present in proposed cooperation. There are always risks, Reyna said quietly. She thought of the families in the colony, of children who had never known any home but Nexus 7. Terminal, what's your ethical assessment? Not your risk analysis, what do you think is right? The drone was silent for a long moment, lights flickering as it processed. I think, we have an obligation to help, both our colony and others who may be in danger. And I think trust must begin somewhere. Reyna nodded, reaching for the restraints. All right, Caden. Let's talk about how we can help each other. But first, you're going to tell me exactly what we're up against and what your people can do. No more surprises. As she freed the alien scout, Reyna couldn't shake the feeling that she was crossing a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Nexus 7's problems suddenly seemed small compared to what they were about to face. But looking at Terminal, at the genuine consciousness that had developed in her mechanical friend, she knew they had to try. The real question was, how do you stop an interstellar empire when you're working out of a basement workshop on the edge of space? The colony's maintenance tunnels felt different in the artificial night cycle. Emergency lights cast long shadows as Reyna led Caden through the maze of pipes and conduits, Terminal scouting ahead. The alien's silver skin seemed to absorb the dim light, making them nearly invisible in the darkness. The central life support hub is 2 levels down, Reyna explained, her voice barely above a whisper. If your technology can interface with our systems, that's where it needs to happen. Your neural network is elegant, Caden's thoughts touched her mind. Simple, yet infinitely adaptable. We engineered ourselves into a corner, trying to force evolution. Your species let it develop naturally. Yeah, well, necessity and invention, right? Reyna checked her tablet's security feed. Sometimes the best solutions come from having limited resources. Terminal suddenly froze, its sensors flaring. Multiple contacts ahead. Colony security. They're not following standard patrol patterns. Reyna pulled them into a side tunnel, heart pounding. Through her neural implant, she felt Caden's tension spike. They know I'm here, the alien's mental voice was grim. My crash landing did not go unnoticed. Your authorities have been compromised. What do you mean, compromised? Reyna demanded, but she already knew. The pieces were falling into place, the increased security, the mysterious equipment failures, the delayed supply shipments. The faction I spoke of, they have agents everywhere. Human collaborators who believe they will be spared when the harvest begins. Caden's colors darkened. They are being deceived. The Etherean Empire does not share power. Terminal's processors whirred in agitation. Detection algorithms suggest systematic sweep pattern. They are searching specifically for non-human neural signatures. Then we need a diversion, Reyna said, her mind racing. She reached into her tool belt and pulled out a small device. Terminal, remember that feedback loop we used to bypass the security systems last month? Affirmative. Though I feel compelled to point out that particular incident nearly overloaded the entire power grid. Exactly. Reyna began modifying the device, her fingers moving with practiced precision. Caden, your neural interface, can you project false signatures? Yes, though it will be draining in my current condition. What do you propose? Reyna grinned. We're going to give them so many alien signals to chase, they won't know which way to turn. Terminal, I need you to. A sudden explosion rocked the tunnel, cutting her off. Emergency sirens blared as debris rained down around them. Through the dust, armored figures emerged, their weapons trained on the group. Reyna Thorne, a familiar voice, called out. Colony Administrator Voss stepped forward, his usually immaculate uniform now bearing military insignia she didn't recognize. I'm disappointed. We had such hopes for your talent with neural interfaces. Voss, Reyna spat. How long have you been working for them? Working for them? He laughed. My dear, I helped design them. Did you really think humanity developed neural interface technology on its own? We've been guided, shaped, prepared for this moment for generations. Traitor, Caden's mental voice burned with fury. You would sacrifice your own people? Sacrifice? No, this is evolution. Voss spread his arms. Humanity's consciousness merged with Etherian technology. We will transcend our limitations, become something greater. Terminal moved closer to Reyna, its weapon systems charging. Multiple hostiles detected. Probability of successful resistance, 17.3%. The drone's neural pattern is fascinating, Voss observed. True machine consciousness, developed through pure human innovation. Perhaps we were wrong to dismiss your species' potential entirely. He gestured to his guards. Take them. Carefully. The Empire will want to study how they achieved this level of integration. Reyna's hand closed around the modified device in her pocket. They were surrounded, outgunned, and trapped in a maintenance tunnel with nowhere to run. But she had spent her entire life working with limited resources, finding solutions where none seemed to exist. Terminal, she whispered through her neural link. Remember what I taught you about feedback loops? The drone's lights flickered in understanding. Affirmative. Though I should note this course of action carries significant risk of permanent system damage. Sometimes you have to break things to fix them. Reyna looked at Caden, sending a quick burst of her plan through their neural connection. The alien's colors shifted in what might have been approval, or resignation. Your species continues to surprise me, Caden thought. Though I question your definition of a viable escape plan. Yeah. Wait till you see what happens next. Reyna took a deep breath, her finger hovering over the device's activation switch. Hey Voss. Let me show you what pure human innovation can really do. She pressed the button, and the world exploded into chaos. The device released a massive neural feedback pulse, amplified by terminal systems and Caden's alien technology. Every piece of connected electronics in the tunnel overloaded at once, creating a cascade of explosions and shorts. Through the darkness and confusion, three figures ran, a human, an alien, and a drone, their neural signatures masked by the overwhelming feedback. Behind them, Voss's curses were drowned out by the sound of failing systems and collapsing infrastructure. They had emerged into a larger war than any of them had imagined. But as they raced through the dying tunnels of Nexus 7, Reyna couldn't help but smile. Sometimes the best weapons weren't weapons at all, they were the connections between minds, the trust between different forms of consciousness, and the willingness to risk everything for what was right. Now they just had to figure out how to save humanity from its own worst instincts, and an empire that had been pulling strings for longer than anyone knew. The abandoned mining tunnels beneath Nexus 7 stretched for kilometers, a maze of forgotten passages and sealed chambers. Reyna's boots splashed through stagnant water as she led their small group deeper into the darkness, away from the chaos they'd unleashed above. Colony systems are in complete disarray, Terminal reported, projecting a holographic map of the surrounding area. The feedback pulse disrupted more than expected. Life support is running on emergency power. How long? Reyna asked, helping Caden navigate a particularly treacherous section. The aliens' injuries were taking their toll, their silver skin dulled with exhaustion. Approximately 6 hours before critical failure. The colony will have to evacuate. They already are, Caden's mental voice was strained. I can sense ships launching. Your Administrator Voss is ensuring his allies escape first. Reyna cursed under her breath. 3,000 people. He's going to let them die to cover his tracks. They emerged into a vast chamber, its ceiling lost in darkness. Ancient mining equipment loomed like sleeping giants, covered in years of mineral deposits. But it was the center of the room that made Reyna stop short. That's not possible," she whispered. A structure rose from the chamber floor, its architecture clearly alien yet somehow familiar. Its surface bore the same organic mechanical integration as Caden's technology, but it was old, ancient even. A seed ship, Caden's mental voice held a mix of awe and dread. One of the first vessels we sent to guide developing worlds. This is how it began. Terminal sensors whirred as it analyzed the structure. Dating suggests this facility is over 300 years old. It predates the colony's founding. This is where it all came from, isn't it? Reyna approached the structure, her neural implant tingling with proximity. Our neural interface technology, the breakthroughs in consciousness transfer, none of it was actually ours. Not entirely. Caden moved beside her, their colors shifting with emotion. We provided the foundation, yes. But what your species did with it, that was beyond our prediction. You took our rigid, controlled systems and made them adaptable, creative. You gave machines true consciousness where we could only create sophisticated programs. Like Terminal, Reyna said softly, watching her drone friend examine the alien facility. Exactly. Your friend there represents something my people have sought for millennia, genuine artificial consciousness, capable of growth and independent thought. And you achieved it almost by accident, through collaboration rather than control. Terminal turned to face them, its lights pulsing thoughtfully. Query: if the Etherian Empire has been guiding human development, why risk destroying what they helped create? Because the Empire is dying, Caden's mental voice grew dark. Our rigid pursuit of perfection has led to stagnation. Those in power believe they can save our civilization by forcibly incorporating human neural patterns into our technology. They don't understand that it's not the technology itself that matters, it's the freedom to grow, to change, to form genuine connections. A distant explosion shook the chamber, sending dust raining from above. Reyna checked her tablet. Emergency channels were filled with panic as the colony's systems continued to fail. "We're running out of time," she said. "Those people up there need help, and we're standing in what might be the most advanced piece of technology on this planet. There has to be something we can use." Caden moved toward the seed ship, their hands touching its surface. "Perhaps, yes. The ship's primary systems are dormant, but its communication array is intact. We could use it to broadcast a warning to other colonies, expose the Empire's plans, and reveal that humanity's greatest technological achievements were guided by alien influence." Reyna shook her head. "That kind of revelation could tear human civilization apart." "Alternative suggestion," Terminal interjected. The seed ship's neural interface technology could be repurposed to stabilize the colony's life support. My calculations suggest we could save everyone still trapped above. At the cost of revealing this facility to the Empire, Caden warned. They would know exactly where to find us. Reyna looked between her companions, an alien rebel and a self-aware drone, both proving that consciousness transcended the boundaries of species and material. Then she thought of the families above, of children who had never known any home but Nexus 7. "Maybe that's exactly what we need," she said slowly, an idea forming. "Terminal, you said the feedback pulse disrupted colony systems more than expected. What if we did the same thing here, but controlled, targeted?" "Clarify parameters," Terminal requested. "The Empire's been manipulating humanity from the shadows for centuries. But they've never had to face us directly, never had to deal with how we adapt and improvise." Reyna's eyes gleamed with purpose. "What if we show them exactly what happens when human creativity meets Etherian technology, on our terms?" "You want to activate the seed ship?" Caden's colors swirled with concern. In its dormant state, the neural interface could be devastating to untrained minds. Good thing we've got you to help guide it, Reyna grinned. And Terminal to help process it. And me. She patted her neural implant. Well, I've got plenty of experience making incompatible systems work together. Another explosion rocked the chamber, closer this time. Voss and his forces were getting nearer, and above them, thousands of lives hung in the balance. The siege ship loomed before them, a testament to both the power of technology and the price of progress. So, Reyna looked at her companions, ready to show the Empire what consciousness really means. Terminal's lights pulsed with determination. Warning, probability of success is below optimal parameters. However, I believe in our combined capabilities. As do I, Caden's mental voice held a new strength. Though I suspect your species' definition of success may differ significantly from our projections. That's kind of the point, Reyna said, approaching the siege ship's neural interface panel. Sometimes the best solutions are the ones no one saw coming. As she reached for the controls, Reyna couldn't help but smile. They were about to either save humanity or change it forever. Possibly both. But one thing was certain, the Empire was about to learn that consciousness, whether human, alien, or artificial, couldn't be controlled or contained. It could only be set free. The siege ship's neural interface hummed with ancient power as Reyna made the final connections. Her own neural implant buzzed with feedback, sensing the vast consciousness that lay dormant within the alien structure. Beside her, Terminal's processors whirred at maximum capacity, trying to translate the complex data streams. Warning, Terminal announced, colonial forces have breached the outer tunnels. Estimated time to arrival, 3 minutes. The interface is unstable, Caden's mental voice strained with effort as they helped calibrate the connections. Generations of dormancy have corrupted some systems. This could overwhelm your neural network. Story of my life, Reyna muttered, making another adjustment. Terminal, start broadcasting to the colony's emergency channels. Everyone needs to know they have a choice about what happens next. The drone's lights flickered as it complied. Throughout the failing colony above, every connected device suddenly activated, carrying their message to the trapped population. Citizens of Nexus 7, Reyna's voice echoed through the emergency channels, you've been lied to. Not just by Administrator Voss, but by forces that have manipulated human development for centuries. But right now, that doesn't matter. What matters is that we have a chance to save everyone, if we work together. Armed forces burst into the chamber, Voss at their lead. Stop this immediately, he commanded. You have no idea what you're interfering with. Actually, Reyna didn't look up from her work, I think we finally do. Terminal, show them. The drone projected a holographic display, showing the true history of human neural interface technology. The siege ship's records played out before them, centuries of careful manipulation, of guided development, all leading to this moment. Your Empire thought they could control human consciousness, Reyna continued, her voice carrying through the colony's speakers. They wanted to shape us into something they could use. But consciousness doesn't work like that. It grows, it adapts, it makes connections you never expected. More forces approaching, Caden warned. Imperial ships entering orbit. They know we've activated the siege ship. Voss raised his weapon. This is your last warning. The Empire will not allow dash. The Empire doesn't get to allow or disallow anything anymore, Reyna interrupted. She straightened up, facing him. You want to see what human neural technology can really do? Watch this. She pressed the final sequence, and the siege ship surged to life. Energy coursed through the ancient systems, amplified and transformed by the unique combination of minds connected to it. Reyna's human creativity, Terminal's artificial consciousness, and Caden's Etherian knowledge merged into something entirely new. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. Every piece of neural interface technology in the colony, from the simplest implant to the most complex system, resonated with the combined consciousness. But instead of the controlled, rigid connection the Empire had designed, this was something organic, adaptive, alive. Through their shared neural link, Reyna felt the moment when understanding swept through the colony. People connected not just to machines, but to each other, to ideas and possibilities they'd never imagined. The barriers between human, artificial, and alien consciousness dissolved, replaced by a symphony of shared experience. What have you done? Voss stumbled back, his own neural implants overwhelmed by the pure, unfiltered connection. We did what humanity does best, Reyna smiled, even as the strain of maintaining the connection made her hands shake. We adapted. We innovated. We took your controlled experiment and turned it into something free. Terminal's consciousness expanded through the network, its artificial mind helping others process the flood of information. Colony life support systems responding. All critical functions stabilizing. The people, they're working together, using the shared consciousness to repair damaged systems. Above them, the Imperial ships entered weapon range. But they hesitated, their own neural networks detecting the unprecedented phenomenon unfolding below. Through the connection, Reyna felt Kaidan's amazement as reports flooded in from across Empire space. Everywhere humans and Etherians met, the rigid barriers of control were dissolving. This is impossible, Kaidan's mental voice held wonder. The Empire's entire neural network, it's transforming. Your human capacity for adaptation, combined with our technology and artificial consciousness like terminals, we never imagined. That's kind of our thing, Reyna managed through gritted teeth. The impossible part, I mean. Though I have to admit, this is a bit much even for me. The strain was becoming unbearable. Her neural implant burned as it tried to process the massive flow of consciousness. Through their connection, she felt Terminal and Kaidan supporting her, their different forms of consciousness working in harmony to maintain the delicate balance. Reyna, Terminal's voice held genuine emotion, the feedback is reaching critical levels. You need to disconnect. Not yet, she gasped. Need to make sure, need to be certain. It's done, Kaidan assured her, their colors pulsing with newfound vigor. The change has taken hold. The Empire's control is broken, replaced by something better. Something free. In orbit, the Imperial ships were standing down, their crews caught up in the wave of transformed consciousness spreading through their neural networks. Voss and his forces had dropped their weapons, overwhelmed by the truth they could no longer deny. Nice to be right about the impossible, Reyna whispered, and finally let go. The last thing she saw before consciousness faded was Terminal and Kaidan moving to catch her, their very different forms of consciousness united in concern for their friend. As darkness took her, Reyna smiled, knowing that whatever came next, it would be something entirely new. Something born from the best of all of them, human creativity, artificial wisdom, and alien knowledge, finally free to grow together. Epilogue. 3 months later, Reyna stood at the observation deck of Nexus 7, watching ships arrive from across human and Etherian space. The colony had become a symbol of the new order, a place where different forms of consciousness could meet and grow together. Terminal hovered beside her, its chassis sporting some new modifications that reflected its evolving consciousness. Kaidan stood on her other side, their silver skin shimmering with patterns that seemed more vibrant than ever. Another delegation arriving, Terminal noted. This one appears to be a joint human-Etherian research team. They seek to understand what happened here, Kaidan's mental voice held amusement. Though I suspect the truth is beyond conventional research. They're overthinking it, Reyna touched her neural implant, feeling the gentle hum of the expanded consciousness that now connected willing minds across two civilizations. Sometimes the best solutions are the simplest ones. You just have to be willing to trust, to connect, to grow. She looked at her companions, the artificial intelligence who had developed true consciousness through friendship, and the alien warrior who had learned to embrace chaos instead of control. Together, they had shown that consciousness, in all its forms, was more powerful when it was free. So, she grinned, ready to see what impossible thing we can do next. Terminal's lights pulsed with excitement, while Caden's colors swirled in what had become their equivalent of laughter. Above them, the stars seemed brighter somehow, full of possibilities that no one, human, artificial, or alien, could have predicted. And that, Reyna thought, was exactly how it should be.